Okay, in this episode, we're going to look at solo wargaming. Wargaming has long been enjoyed as a social strategic experience generally with friends and or club members gathered around a table, rolling dice, moving armies in dramatic confrontations. But there is a thriving part of the hobby that often flies under the radar, and that's solo wargaming. And as the name suggests, solo wargaming is played alone with a single player, taking on the roles for both or multiple opposing factions and forces. Now, in this video, we're going to explore this growing world of wargaming and why it's appealing and the tips for sort of getting started. I mean, it saw a spurt of growth during the pandemic, and it kind of hasn't seemed to have slowed down. So, why solo wargame? Well, solo wargaming offers a unique, deeply immersive experience for quite a few reasons. It can allow hobbyists to play on their own schedule without needing to coordinate with others. It will give players total control of the entire tabletop, allowing you to experiment with different tactics, strategies, and scenarios. Also, for many solo wargamers, they find quite a lot of joy in weaving their own narratives and turning every battle into a unique story. And this will allow them to personalize those games and stories. Solo play also enables players to adjust game difficulty in real time, making it accessible for beginners or creating brutal challenges for advanced players. It also a way of learning a new set of rules is to play the game solo first before you introduce it to friends. Many traditional war games can be adapted for solo play, but there are some particularly suited for it. Games like Rangers of Shadow Deep by Joseph McCulloch or Four Against the Darkness by Andrea Sifilogoy. And the Walking Dead All-Out War by Mantic Games. And these are pretty good examples which have mechanics designed to facilitate solo adventuring and gaming. Now, some of these games feature detailed sort of AI mechanics for enemy forces, which will allow for randomized events and challenges that lend themselves well to one-player sessions. For other games that lack solo rules, a lot of enthusiasts have created their own sort of AI rules, assigning specific actions or behaviors to enemy forces based on simple guidelines, like having enemies pursue the closest target or take a defensive stance based on certain specific conditions. So when we look at creating a solo scenario, it's both an art and a science. Here are a few elements that will make an engaging solo experience. Now, objectives. A clear and interesting objective can turn a standard skirmish into quite a memorable mission. For example, a solo mission could involve a stealth-based objective, such as infiltrating enemy lines to recover intelligence, or a race against time to escape as reinforcements close in. You can include things like random events. Adding random events such as ambushes or environmental changes will create a level of suspense and make the gameplay feel less predictable. Using a deck of cards, dice rolls, or tables to trigger these unexpected events can simulate the chaos and uncertainty of battle. Now, as a solo player controls all the units, a simple and repeatable sort of AI style rules will make gameplay a bit smoother and less confusing. These rules should be specific but flexible. For example, playing a zombie scenario, enemies may be programmed to move directly towards the nearest player or controlled unit while maintaining a swarm formation, or it could be to the nearest sound. Storytelling in solo games tends to excel in emergent sort of storytelling style, using miniatures, terrain, or even a journal style note taking to record pivotal moments. When you return to these stories, you'll find that each battle brings your armies and commanders to life, creating a memorable personal history on the tabletop. Now, look at some of the tools and techniques, such as randomized enemy actions, where dice tables and card decks are perfect for randomizing enemy moves. For instance, you can assign a certain action like moving, shooting or retreating to each card suit or dice results. Keeping a campaign journal will add a bit of depth to solo gaming, recording the outcomes, the kills, injuries and heroic deeds, giving characters and battles continuity and lending a campaign style feel to the solo play. Now, don't forget also there are online communities for solo wargamers to access a wealth of online resources, including fan-made solo adaptations, custom enemy AI rules and random event tables. A lot of communities on platforms like Facebook, Reddit and forums such as the Wargames website host a lot of solo wargaming enthusiasts, and they tend to share a lot of scenarios, modifications and ideas. So where's the future lie? With the advent of AI and technology, new tools are starting to emerge that will enhance solo play. For instance, virtual tabletop software like Table Simulator or Vassal allows solo players to recreate games digitally. There are apps designed to randomize events or manage AI units, and which are also becoming more common and expanding the possibilities for a lot more creative solo scenarios. Solo wargaming brings a lot to the hobby and offers a great deal of flexibility and immersion, and the chance to explore both classic and custom scenarios at one's own pace. Now, whether you're crafting your own fantasy world, reenacting a historical battle, or challenging yourself with a brutal survival mission, solo wargaming is an incredibly rewarding experience. For those new to the hobby or even seasoned veterans looking for a sort of fresh approach, it's a great way to embrace all of that wargaming has to offer. No opponent needed. And during the pandemic, a lot of people started picking up solo gaming that hadn't tried it before and have continued since. Even though they now have access back to clubs, meeting up with friends, stuff like that, a lot of people still solo wargame as well. I mean, I've always solo wargamed when I'm learning new rules. I've never, prior to the pandemic, I'd never used it for more than a way to learn a new rule system before going down to the club or meeting up with friends to play that particular game. Especially if I was going to be the person introducing a new set of rules to friends, I would solo play first and then introduce them. So I understood the rules and I knew my way around the game. But during the pandemic, that was the only way to get games in, was to actually solo play. And I started picking up solo play, role play games as well, to satisfy that sort of need. And I still solo play now. I will still put out, from trying out something, a new rules, a new scenario, a new idea, I might try it out solo first. And it's a good way to sort of practice and learn the rules as well. So, you know, if you've never solo wargamed before, I would suggest giving it a go, especially if you want to learn a rule set for the first time. But you may then find that it's a great way of getting additional games in when you can't get games in with your friends, is to actually solo play. Test out your new army, test out new tactics, try out new rules. Maybe play a rule system your friends aren't even interested in playing. Anyway, that's all for this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.